Ooh, a field trip. Let's see. The building right over the top of my mirror, that's where Maury works when he's not driving his own trucks. And we're gonna run in and see my friend Tom pick up some metal. And he should have a Honda starter sitting there if he ever got it from home. And maybe some pieces for my wheel spacers to show me what he'd come up with. We've discussed it a few times, and hopefully he's got it figured out. Probably should have shown you from on the highway. There's still snow up in the hills. There's a hill in front of us, same hill as that. It's wraps around, it kind of ends over here. Actually, it ends kind of at Forest Grove where we're going. And the next one's though, see through there. If I could zoom in while I'm driving, I'd have it made. That's a coast range. High part up there is Saddle Mountain. But like I said, I can't zoom in, especially when people want to stop and turn. And I probably won't get another good look up there either, unfortunately. Drive for a half mile with your turn signal on, pass 3 different places you can turn, and then finally turn. Gotta love it. So anyway, there's still snow up there. I don't know how much, but there's still snow there. They actually got snow up there a couple days ago, I heard. Anybody wants some nursery stock, there's plenty of it around here. Kind of like berries. Plenty of berries around too. This nursery right here to the right, that was part of Glenn Walter's nursery, which sold out to Ameriscape of New York, and then they closed everything down and put everything up for sale, and a lot of it I think is sold, but some of it hasn't. So anyway, that's just a little bit of my trip. There's a grass seed field there growing. That's a newer planting. I think they planted that one last year, I think. Don't quote me on that. I used to kind of keep up on these guys more because I was driving through here all the time until I ended up moved out at the farm a few years ago. So another grass seed field. Guy that has this, he's got the berries back behind us, and grass seed, and does corn and peas, whatever. A lot of fresh market stuff. So anyway, I'll get you some more. Quick, there's still some areas with a little bit of water. The guy that farms that, I think he's slowing down. I heard he's gotten sick and somebody else may be starting to take some of his over, but he's farmed that for a long time. I hauled a lot of silage corn off of there. 1 year, the rains just kept coming and kept flooding and going, and where the water's standing down there, he actually had it planted, the whole thing planted 3 different times. And the last time it flooded out, it was about like it is right now for about a month. And he went back in first part of June to plant. Run into him at lunch one day, and I asked him if he's going to get enough off it to make it worthwhile. And he just kind of rolled his eyes, and he goes, God, you know, he says, 30, 40 years of farming that piece of ground, he'd replanted a couple times, but never that many times in a year. Usually middle of March, and that's pretty good. Once in a while, you know, you take a chance, but I mean, he got flooded out twice in May that year, so it was pretty screwed up. Oh well. Road going the other way now. I was really hoping that the clouds wouldn't be too bad up there, because Mount Hood is kind of in front of us. It's funny, it seems like, depends on the day when you drive through here. Sometimes you look that way for it, sometimes you look that way for it. But it's pretty much straight ahead of us, but ain't gonna see it. It's just decided to be a little too cloudy that way. So, anyway, just my trip home. Yep, that's a big pile of sawdust over there for the berries. They seem to like that stuff a lot. Speaking of berries, berry guy right there with a little tractor for playing in the berries. A lot of these guys used to move those tractors on the road and about 10 years ago, one outfit had 3 tractors in 2 days. I'll get rear-ended. Every damn one of them got rear-ended at 60 miles an hour. You know what that does to one of those smaller tractors like that, let alone the guy running it. At least one of them was a fatality, and I don't know about the other 2. So all of a sudden everybody was busy buying trailers so they could pack their tractors around, and then when they only had one little truck, well, now they had to have 3 or 4 to pack their tractors around. So anyway, I just figured I'd give you a little of that return trip. Oh, and a quickie, this nice colored field here, that was in alfalfa last year, so I imagine it still is. Looks like a lot of grass showing. Looks like some of it's been sprayed. Fresh tracks out there even sunk in a little. They had the narrow tires on. Oh well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of our stuff we ain't gonna get out on yet. But it'll get dry enough, then it'll get out, then it'll rain, and it won't finish. That's usually how it happens. So I prefer to get everything done in the fall, but that definitely didn't happen. So, home is that away. I'll be there in about another 10 minutes or so, give or take. Okay, there's the materials that I ended up with. The reason I'm doing this is to beef it up. 3.5 inch angle iron. It'll only come to there. I'm going to smooth that off because I'm not sure where bolts are going to come in. I think we should have one about here and one about here, because I went longer here than the bottom. This is the back of the rail. Right here is where the boom mount's going to mount. The tank mount bolt should be somewhere in here. And I got to raise the boom a little higher off of this. So there's a piece of 3x3. I'm going to cut the length I need. That'll set here for the boom itself to set on top. Set on top of, and probably bolt through. It'll weld to the back of the 2x3 tubing that is underneath the tank cradle. The tank cradle bolt will be back here. Use the existing hole that's in the cradle. Just got to drill this one. This existing hole here is going to be roughly the center of that cradle. So we'll drill through to bolt it, because I just don't like the idea of having them. Something's going to vibrate, something's going to wear. We'll bolt her in the middle too. And the other end, you do the same thing with the angle iron, but due to the materials I could get, we're only 3 inches long here, which will catch the hole from the cradle mount, and another piece will go here with the angle iron in between to stiffen everything, and this will bolt to the frame. And on the frame side, rubber, vulcanized. That's why I didn't need a longer piece here, because that'll end up just about there. And just to make things easier, less screwing around, I'm not just going to bolt this in between. I'm going to actually tack it on here. And somebody will say it. I know they will. I know they will. Anybody that knows their shit will say it. Well, you didn't need all that weld. Structurally, no. There's like 20 times more weld there than it is needed for structure. These 2 pieces are gapped. I put this in just because I wanted to come farther up, because I know there's going to be a bolt in here somewhere. That weld, not all of it, but most of it actually goes clear through to this piece. And then it's capped. This is where 2 pieces come together here. Same with down here. That is all sealed. The only gappage, I mean, there's 2 pieces laying side by side in here. Anything can cause that, moisture with a little air, and you'll get a little rust started, then you'll get scale started, then that'll get pregnant because the scale just forces it. The scale's kind of like ice in a pipe. It'll just push it out. The only thing's going to be the holes where the bolts go through, and they're going to be held down tight. They're going to be tight enough, they're going to be sealed. So if nothing else can get in there other than around those bolts, which shouldn't happen, that should last literally forever. It's got to rust from the outside in. It can't go from the inside out. Same thing with here. And I know. I didn't get 3 inch, I got 3.5 inch, so it's a little wide. Let's see, it's also welded all the way around. I'm just going to knock the corners off, just so there's no sharp edge. They really shouldn't matter where they're going to be anyway, but, you know, my luck, I'll have to reach in there for something, and yes, I do think about that kind of thing. You reach in, next thing you know, you got a slice down your arm. But one end of one is done. I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. That's pieces that are laying there. The angle iron sitting over in the saw because I got to cut it. And I'll get both of them that far. I may still try to straighten these a little bit because I still don't like the fact that they got a bow to them. The only place they're going to be mounted to the frame is at the ends. And say the middle will be bolted to the carriage frame. So we're going to go from there. And this video is way too long. So hope you all have a good evening. Ron was here. Not much I had to do for him because I didn't have this stuff done. He was here when I got home from town. Calf's been up and eating. That's all good. I think there's a clip that number one sent me that'll be in this video, so you would have seen that already by now because this will be the end. And we go from there, right? If everything works out right, if I get this done in the morning, I can get some paint, get them painted, get the tank in here, get it mounted on it, and hopefully tomorrow, the tank will be sitting right over there. And yeah, I'm going to paint it before I get everything. Well, actually, I should be able to figure where I've got to cut the hole into one. Because I got to cut the hole for the hose out of the bottom of the tank. Has to be in one of them. It'll be in that one. Because, no, it'll be in this one. This is the right one. But it'll be probably somewhere in here. It's going to be long and hopefully not very wide. So that's what I got. And I got the brackets for the gauges and stuff off the other cab and figured out where to put them in there, I think. The drawback holding me back is the hard line for the water temp, which by the looks of it, where I want to put it, I'm going to put it on this corner post somewhere near this. I think it'll come from about here and go up. So my water temp will be the bottom one because it should make it to here, give or take. It's got enough room to make it down to where it can go into the block. We'll find that out when the time comes, but yeah, everything's all got to be figured off what I got and how I'm doing it. So thank you for watching. And God, this is way too long. I probably will get this video up. Oh well.